Hey everybody, Bill Caskey here. I was out last week at a company and speaking in front of about 100 people, and I asked the question, how many of you are in a business transition of some kind? Either there's a massive change in the business, a massive change in the market, massive change in product. 80% of the hands went up. 80%. 80% of people are in transition of some kind. Today we're going to talk about how do you handle it when you're in transition, especially when you have a new job or a new territory. You know, we live in really chaotic times. The markets are all over the place. The internet and technology is disintermediating people. There's just a lot going on. And so it's not surprising that I get a lot of questions from my listeners and viewers about transition. The one I got that we're going to talk about today is I have a new job or a new territory, and he even said, how do I break this myth if it takes 200 and some calls to get a deal? And he was being a little facetious there, but you know, there's this whole notion that it takes a certain amount of behavior and it takes you a year before you know a territory. And he said, I don't want to buy into those myths. So I'm going to give you a handful of things here. By the way, I'd love it if you commented below. Let me know if I've missed something, if there's a 6th, 7th, or 8th. Or if you really like one of these and you're able to use it and improve your territory, improve your business, I'd love to hear. And if you have not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell. Here's number one. You have to think systems and processes. I have one of my favorite sayings is selling is not about personality, it's about processes. And I think we have been lulled into this mode of thinking that selling is all about how we are in front of our customers, how gregarious we are and enthusiastic and how helpful and how nice and caring and how we hug and all pass out cigars and go play golf and all that stuff. I think it has a lot more to do with systems and processes. So if you have a new job or territory, you have to look and say, what are the systems or processes that I need to create? For example, you might want to look at creating a lead generation system. That would be a good system to create, where when you're out talking to people, instead of just walking in or knocking or getting an appointment and going in and talking about something, have a gift, have something of value. Maybe it's a lead magnet you can put on your LinkedIn site, or maybe it's some kind of free checklist or report that you have written or somebody in your company has written and you can attach your name to. Get some kind of process so that you can shortcut this process of selling and of targeting accounts. Number 2, 5 things to be clear about. Whenever we are in transition, clarity suffers. And when clarity suffers, confidence suffers. So what do you need to be clear about? Here's a couple things. I think number 1, you need to be clear about your vision. Where are you going as a human being, as a business owner? If you have a new territory, where would you like to take the territory or your business? What's the financial vision? What's the customer acquisition vision? Where are you going? What do you want? That's a critical question. What do you want? So get clear about that. Number 2, get clear about your value. How do you bring value to customers? What's the core value that you bring as a representative of this product or this service or this company? How do you bring value? Do you bring it through the solving of problems? Do you bring it through the acquisition of vision, where they're trying to get, your customers are trying to get to a new place, they're trying to escape from one place and arrive somewhere else? What's the value you bring? Number 3, I think you need to be very clear on your story. And it doesn't have to be your personal story, it could be, but it's also the company story. What is the company story? How are you going to tell that and give life to it, so that it doesn't just sound like, you know, Bob Smith started our company in 1985 and he went through a couple iterations and here we are today, we're the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's not a story. That's really nothing, but it's a resume. I want a story. Why did Bob Smith start the company? What was in his heart? How have you changed to meet the demands of the market? What are some of the things you're excited about working with? Who do you want to work with? Which brings me to number 4, which is, who is your ideal client? Who is your ideal client? What do they look like? What do they look like in terms of size, in terms of psychographics, like what are their preferred interests? How do they buy? Do they give you access to their people? What's an ideal client looks like? That's terrible writing. What's ideal client look like in your business? So I would give you 5, but I only got room for 4. But I'm sure there's a 5th somewhere in your world part of that might be what are you clear about in terms of your processes, and especially that lead generation process. You can get clear on those 4 things. It will really help you to gain the confidence you need as you enter into a new territory. Number 3, publish quickly. Publish quickly means don't wait for 5 years until you know the business. Publish something. Publish a checklist. Publish a white paper. Publish the 5 misconceptions that you find customers in your area or region or territory have when it comes to your product. Don't wait to publish. If you need a copywriter, if you need somebody to write it for you, that's fine. You probably have somebody in your company that can do it, or you can go to some of the gig Fiverr or Upwork or some of those places you can get it done. Don't wait to publish. The quicker you can do this, the better reputation you're going to have and the better position you're going to be. Number 4, target wisely. Part of this question was, how do I target my accounts? And I say target wisely because sometimes we get a big appetite when we start to target. We've got a company here in town called Eli Lilly Company, and they're a large pharmaceutical. They do lots of stuff. They're huge. And every time I tell somebody I'm from Indianapolis, they say, oh, I bet you've done a lot of work with Lilly. Well, Lilly's a multi-billion-dollar company. That's not a target for us. I don't want to work with multi-billion-dollar companies. It's too hard to work with them. What I prefer to work with is $100 to $500 million companies. So when I target them. So make sure your appetite doesn't get too big for your stomach there, and don't just target all the largest ones. Target the people that you drive by their office, or you've heard about them, you've heard about their culture, their brand, and say, I would love to work with them. Sometimes this is not about numerics and metrics and numbers, it's about just instinct. And number 5, play the long game. Too many times we get sucked into this 30, 60, 90-day game. It's a terrible game to get into because I will tell you, you never get out of it. You never get out of it. You're always playing the 30, 60, 90-day game. I don't care, Bill, what you're going to do next year. What are you going to do this month or this quarter? We're at month end. Oh my God, we got a week to go in the month. We got to get some sales in here. It's a terrible game. It puts pressure on you. The prospect feels it. Nobody wins except for maybe the stockholders of your company if it works every time. The problem is that very few companies are playing the long game. I want you to play the long game. Create your brand, your LinkedIn brand, whatever. If your Facebook brand is part of that, that's fine. But go and play this game for a longer period of time. It will help you. A year from now, you won't have to worry about the 30, 60, 90-day plans because you'll have plenty of stuff coming in. Make sure you comment below if you like some of these. If I've missed one, as I said, put that there. Also, subscribe to our channel. I'm going to be publishing these, producing these every week. I'm going to be taking a question from either some of the podcasts I do or questions that have come in over the last couple of weeks from clients and viewers. So make sure you hit the bell to be notified, and we'll see you next time. Bye.